So the first problem is Jason is 7/8 of a meter tall and Bob is 5/7 meters tall. How much taller is Jason? So see, you're saying how much taller. When you're saying how much taller or how much more of something, you're always asking for subtraction. So Jason is 7/8 of a meter and Bob is 5/7, and we need to subtract these guys like this. Now we do not have a common denominator here, so we need to do that ourselves. I'm coming up blank on what a great common denominator would be, so I go back to my fallback. 8 times 7 is 56, so I know that I can use 56 as a common denominator. So I'll go 7/8, and then I can multiply this by 7 like this. And what I'll have is 7 times 7 is 49, and then 8 times 7, of course, is 56, right, like that. And then I'll transform the bottom fraction by saying 5/7, and I'll multiply this one by 8 by 8. 8 times 5 is 40, and then of course also have 56 on the bottom. So you see how when you multiply these together I get 56. I can always use that as a common denominator. So now that I have this common denominator, I just keep it in my answer, 56, and then I have 49 minus 40 is going to give me 9. And the answer is 9/56. It's a weird looking fraction, but I can't really simplify that anymore. 9/56 of a meter. That's how much taller Jason is, which is me, from the other guy, which was named Bob. All right, so the next problem, again, let's look for the keyword that indicates subtraction. Bill finished 8 of the 10 test questions. James finished 2/5 of the questions. How much more of the test did Bill finish than James? So what you're saying is how much more of something. So that's a keyword that means how much more. You're looking for the difference, which is subtraction. All right? So if Bill finished 8 of the 10 questions, that's a fraction by itself. 8 of the 10 questions. He finished 8/10 of the test. James finished 2/5 of the test, and we need to subtract them. We want to find out how much more of the test did this guy finish than this guy. So we have two fractions to subtract, and I notice I have a 5 and a 10, so I'm going to immediately change the 2/5. I'm going to multiply this times 2 times 2, which will give me 4/10, because I'm trying to match this as a denominator. I'll leave this alone. I don't have to mess with him. Now I have two fractions with 10 in the denominator. So then I will keep 10 in the denominator, like this. And then I'll have 8 minus 4, because I'm subtracting, which will give me 4/10. So 4/10 is the answer, but I always need to check, can I simplify? Yes, I can divide this by 2. Yes, I can divide this by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5, so the answer is 2/5. So one guy finished more of the test than the other in terms of the fraction. How much more did he finish? He finished 2/5 more of the test than the other guy did. You're expressing it as a fraction. All right, so let's work our last word problem. Again, we're looking for the keywords that show us that we're doing a subtraction here. The pizza had 12 slices. Jeff ate 3/4 of them. How many slices are left? Now this one can trip people up because you're usually looking for two fractions to subtract, and you don't quite see it at first because we don't have two fractions. We know that the pizza had 12 slices, and we know that Jeff ate 3/4 of them. All right. But what we also know is that if we start with a whole pizza and Jeff ate 3/4 of the pizza, how much of the pizza is left? Well, we know right away that we start with a whole pizza, that's 1, and Jeff ate 3/4. I think you could probably do this in your head, but notice that 1 can always be written as 4/4. I choose this because I want a common denominator with 3/4. So basically, starting with a whole pizza, Jeff eats 3/4, how much is left? I just change this to a common denominator so that I can subtract them. And what I end up getting is what you expect. You should have 1/4 of the pizza left. If somebody starts with a pizza and they eat 3/4 of the pizza, how much of the pizza is left? Well, 1/4 of the pizza is left. That makes sense to you. But the question doesn't ask for the fraction. The question says how many slices are left. Well, we also know that the pizza has 12 slices. And we know that 1/4 of the pizza is left, right? So how many slices is that? So what we need to figure out is what is 1/4 of 12 slices? That's what we really need to know. Now, instead of trying to draw a pizza as a circle with 12 perfect slices, let me do this. Let's say this is a slice of a pizza, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's pretend we have a long, slender pizza, just to kind of make it easier for us to draw it on the board. Really, we could draw it as a circle with 12 slices. But the question is, how many slices is 1/4 of this pizza? In other words, if I take this pizza and I cut it into 4 equal parts and take one of those parts, how many slices will that be? Well, I think you can convince yourself that there would be a line there, there would be a line there, there would be a line there, and that's it. Basically, this is 1/4 of the pizza, this is 1/4 of the pizza, this is 1/4 of the pizza, this is 1/4 of the pizza. So 1/4 of 12 slices is 3 slices left. And that is the answer, 3 slices left. And that's what you need to write down in your test. This is sometimes why it's very useful and important for you to write down a fraction and draw a picture sometimes. If you can look and say 1/4 of 12 and understand that it's 3 slices, that's fantastic, great for you. But some people really need to draw it out. So we drew 12 pieces, chopped it into 4 equal parts and said, what is 1/4 of that? 1/4 of that turns out to be 3 slices. All right, and the fraction subtraction part of it came from before. We knew that somebody started with a whole pizza and he ate 3/4 of it. He was very hungry.